Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back to another live stream of Hearthstone. Today is Monday, October 23rd, and we are playing on the Americas server right now. We need to play some warrior class cards, so let's see if we can find that. Let's see, I also need to set my timer correct this time because I messed that up. Warrior would work just fine on this weapon deck, so let's play that. Going through news and responding to chat, kind of more talking to chat than the news, which is fine. That actually probably works rather well. It's what I would desire more than anything else, is that I can mention video game news, and people might have something interesting to say about the news, or they may just have questions or comments completely unrelated, and then we can just bounce back and forth. Like, here's a news piece for a game that's really just a review. It's called Battle Chasers Night War, and it's a JRPG I've never heard of, and these reviews often are just advertisements for the game. It looks decent enough. Let's see, and it's on Steam for $30, but no, thank you. It doesn't look $30 good enough. That is gonna be a bane of my existence if I ever tried to play the large amount of JRPGs. Like, just the amount of grinding that's usually required in them is way too much. Let's see, we have Deadshot Vet M98B 23rd. Wow, it's so weird to think about. It's 24 here. Okay. Yeah, I'm in the US Central Time Zone, so you must be in either, well, let's see. You must be on the other side of the planet somewhere. I guess I can't really guess any bigger than that. Ooh, I have a love for Lego, which really doesn't have too much to do with video games, other than I own almost all the Lego video games, and I own a lot of real world Lego. But there was a picture that was retweeted by the makers of the game Myst, Cyan, and it is the original Mist Island completely recreated in Lego, and it looks rather nice. This is the minifig scale, or around the minifig scale of it. And it's not like the original Mist Island was huge to begin with. Actually, it probably is missing some of the underground parts, if I was to guess, but still very nice. My own creation, as they're called. Let's see. Deadshot goes EU close enough. Yeah. I certainly am still trying to figure out like the right time to stream. Like, I get a lot of you get more than I would have thought Russian viewers, because I start a little bit earlier. I was starting at like 2 o'clock Central Time, and it wasn't getting very many people. And now I'm trying to start at 4 or 5 o'clock in the Central Time. Normally, I wake up around 1 or 2 in the evening anyways, so it's not a burden for me to start at 4 or 5 and then stream till about midnight. But that is a lot of streaming, and I suffer from insomnia, so I usually go to sleep somewhere between 3 o'clock in the morning, or even later. 6 in the morning is not unheard of too. But yeah, I'm definitely trying to find when is the best time to to release videos. And I watch a lot of other people and when they release videos on YouTube, and I don't know if any of it really matters. One would think I base my channel a lot around the idea of it being like a television station. So one would think that the prime time is the right time. So, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and then your late night is usually 10 o'clock. But that could be totally the wrong time for YouTube streamers to put out videos, because very possibly the people that are watching primetime on TV are not watching YouTube. So maybe I shouldn't directly compete. But I seem to have at least a small audience of fans that appreciate somewhere between 4 o'clock and 10 o'clock. Let's see. Deadshot says, nah, your sleeping pattern's perfectly normal. XD. Yeah. It very possibly would be a lot better if I did move to like Europe or something. if I just moved to the country that lined up with when I went to sleep. I've done it all. When I was in school, of course, you're forced to get up at like 6 in the morning and go to school between 8 and 3 in the afternoon and do what is effectively called the first shift of a day in jobs. And then I worked a job that was third shift, where I would start working at 10 p.m. in the evening and quit working at 6 in the morning. And that's called third shift. But in general, I tend to just bounce out to the second shift, which is about 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. But I also, on top of that, suffer from insomnia, so there's just like no consistency at all on any of that. I only played 3 warrior class sets. Let's try in mage armor instead. So yeah, there's some craziness. That's one of the beautiful things about owning this YouTube channel and running it and being my own boss, is that I can pre-record footage and play late into the night, and I don't have to worry about streaming that, and I can just schedule it to air at the times when people would actually want to see it and notice it. And if I'm a little late when I start a stream, because I stream now every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, if I start late, it's not a big deal to me. Like, nobody's gonna come and yell at me other than fans. Deathshot Vet said, if you do, however, want to go to sleep, try eating some kiwi before you go to sleep. The amount of magnesium in that should help to relax your muscles, helps you sleep in general. Interesting tip. Like, I might try that. I don't think I've eaten kiwi maybe ever in my life. But I've certainly tried other things, like energy drinks to stay awake when I should be awake. Have been tried a lot and barely work. I was taking what is one of the sleep aid things, that melatonin. Yeah, that's it. I was taking melatonin for a long time, and the melatonin at one point I took caused me to have sleep paralysis, which is you wake up and you're in the middle of a nightmare, but you're half awake and half asleep, but you're paralyzed like your body normally does when you're asleep, so you don't like sleepwalk. So I stopped taking melatonin, and it didn't really even work because it didn't improve the quality of my sleep, which is probably more of the issue than anything else, is that I just have very poor quality of sleep even when I do sleep. So I wake up tired and dehydrated. Yeah. But it's also something I've just kind of resolved that's never really going to be fixed. Uh, it's just like a disease I'm going to have to live with, I imagine, for my entire life. Hmm. Hmm. Let's see. Next bit of Emily Jinx says, finally a Hearthstone stream with commentary. XD. Lol, and it's in English. Well, as a streamer, I know you guys are joking. Deadshot says, I know, right? One of the things that I personally think YouTube should crack down on and get rid of is the no commentary streams and videos that are filling up YouTube, uh, because they're not, like, in terms of the fair use defense of copyright. Like, if you're literally just putting up footage of a game and not talking, you're not adding to it artistically, and you really don't have, I think, in my opinion, in my non-legal opinion, I don't think you have a right to do that. I think you need to add something. You need to be news reporting, commenting, critiquing, and you kind of need to constantly do it too. Like, I don't think you're going to really win a court case if you say, this game is good, and then play 4 hours of a game and show all the cutscenes of a game, and then don't say anything else for the next 4 hours. Now, I understand some viewers love the no commentary because they don't want to listen to it, listen to the person talking, but that's what the mute button's for. Sorry. Mute the button, play some music if you want to watch it that way. Sure, you won't get the audio from the game, but YouTube should not be supporting that, in my opinion. It is flooding a already overfilled YouTube with low quality content. Let's see. It's honestly, I think it's a much bigger problem than half of what YouTube thinks are big problems on YouTube. Moving on with video game news, though. Let's see. Deadshot said something. I wasn't joking, mate. There are plenty of Hearthstone streams, but it's either in Russian or Mandarin or Polish. That's probably the time you're watching and you're being geolocated. Do you go to youtube.com or do you go to youtube.eu? I wonder if there is a youtube.eu or .uk. Yeah, he said, yeah, very likely. Like, YouTube suggests things based on where you are. So it would be really silly, but if you were to VPN into a node coming out in the United States, you'll get very different things. But a lot of it too is that there's also there's a lot of Hearthstone players on Twitch and not very many on YouTube. That's the other thing about it. A lot of people on Twitch. Yeah. But the time zones are very similar anyway. Yeah. Yeah, me trying to really guess how YouTube works, though, is kind of a fool's errand, because they do some weird stuff just randomly. Moving on with video game news, there's a new 2D brawler called Flynn, Son of Crimson. This looks interesting. It's a Kickstarter campaign, and you can play the free demo on itch.io, which both of those things were things I used to not cover, but in an effort just to cover more news, I am now willing to cover Kickstarter games that probably will never get finished and things that end up on itch.io for free. It's a brawler slash like platformer game with a hook shot and an arrow and wall crawling, and you're running around as this redheaded character, and there's some, looks like maybe some swimming, and you seem to be carrying an axe. It honestly does not look too bad. Flynn, Son of Crimson. Why call it Flynn, though? That's an odd name. A little bit of dialogue in it, but as long as there's not too much dialogue, I'm willing to play a game. There was a game that was more of an RPG called Child of Light, I think, that I covered, and it was a fine game, but it was covered in a lot of dialogue in some places. And anytime I run into a game that requires me to read out loud like 5 pages worth of dialogue, it's asking a lot. Not a bad announcement video or Kickstarter video. It's a 2D game, if I didn't say that. XD, that description was amazing. It's a red-headed dude tuning around with an axe. Running around with an axe. That's pretty much what it is. It's this red-headed guy. Let's see. It seems like at some point he rides a giant dog-like creature. Yep. Well, you can certainly go see the video yourself and see if I was off on that. Honestly, like, when you think about it, video game descriptions are kind of ridiculous often. It gets into the world of fantasy and just extreme jargon. Like, so you might read a description from the creator of a game and it says, "Welcome to the land of Elysia, where you play as Elios, the child of light that will be that was summoned from the dust of Ilios to create a savior for this dying land." And all that a lot of that, what I just said, was made up jargon. Where if I look at a game and I'm trying to describe it and make it understandable, particularly just over talking, I'll go, it's a JRPG where you play as a girl. She's an anime girl that runs around and kills a bunch of creatures that look like bunnies. That's a lot more information. And so speaking in more relatable language is, I guess, a goal of anybody trying to communicate or review a game. That's why often when I watch movie reviews on YouTube, they will take longer to describe the movie than half of the movie in its whole length, because they really break it down and make it understandable to anybody or almost anybody that's watching. Let's see. Bandai Namco released some screenshots for Dragon Ball Z Dragon Ball Fighter Z Nappa. So not really any news there. That's like Japanese companies love to be like, hey, we got 3 more screenshots. Will you report on the fact that we have 3 more screenshots to this game? And some people are definitely willing to do that. Let's go ahead and play this. The classic 90s space strategy games Star Control 1 and 2 are now on Steam. But the creator of the game, Starlock, recommends the fan-made remaster if you want a more modern take. So, let's see. Star Control Origins, the revival of the 25-year-old space strategy series, is also a good chance to go back and play through the original, according to this article. Let's see. I think I played a game like this on Steam from Stardock. The Stardock seems like they made a lot of games like that. So Steam is starting to become more and more about a storefront where you can buy really old games for nostalgia reasons more than only being a storefront for brand new games that will actually sell and appeal to the vast majority of players, which is fine, I suppose, because I would like all of the old games in my Steam library in one place where I can know I have them. At a certain point, even now, I have too many games on Steam, and so it would be helpful if I could sort and organize them a little bit better. Like, as for the game Star Control, they're only really showing one picture of it. It looks like a very old DOS style game. But that might not be a terrible factor. Like, if you have nostalgia for this game, I think you'll be happy to play it again or to own it. But if you don't, it's an easily skippable thing. Like, I guess EVE Online is the only game that is a space strategy game that is really blowing up the world these days, and it's so big and so popular. I don't know if there's a room enough for another. Let's see. Deadshot Vet says, gameplay, what they talk about is the backstory and sometimes reveal a little bit of the plot. You're just reviewing, helping others to visualize the gameplay aspect, but that also depends on what the community is into more. Yeah, when I'm my reviews and when I'm playing games is heavily built around the gameplay. There's some other elements that I also talk about, such as the visual, the audio, the sound effects, the background music, how smooth and it controls, if it's using a controller or a mouse or keyboard, general game ideas. And also, like, I've played video games for over many decades, and I know what has been done in games before, what has been popular to me and popular in general in games. A lot of games put out ideas and put in gameplay mechanics or miss opportunities to put in ideas or gameplay mechanics, and so you can compare and contrast and say, like, here's a good example. I'm looking at the review of Middle-earth: Shadow of War by Giant Bomb. They gave it 3 out of 5 stars. If Middle-earth: Shadow of War didn't have an incredibly long grind fest at the end that everybody I hear is complaining about it probably would have been a better game. if Shadow of War didn't have uh, greedy loot boxes in it, it would have avoided that controversy quite a bit. If Shadow of War didn't try to profit, or at least look like it was trying to profit off the death of one of its programmers who died of cancer by selling DLC, it probably would have worked a little bit better. And a lot of times I have to comment on the actions that are taken by the developer of a game that don't even get directly reflected in the final product. Let's see. I guess I could kill this guy, but I don't want to. For like Battlefield 4, an example, I think the vast majority of Battlefield players only want the gameplay to be smooth. They want it to have good maps, low lag, look good. Arguably, I would say that we've hit a saturation point on good graphics that we don't really need to overemphasize on making things like 8K plus level of quality on the graphics, and they could just maintain their current level of graphical quality and work more on having better actions, better online net code, maybe put some more features in the game. But I imagine a lot of Battlefield fans don't care too much about the music that's playing in the background. They probably do want the sound effects to be moderately good, but they're not going to be really picky about it. A lot of them are never going to touch that single player experience. So if I was to play Battlefield, for example, I would probably just play the single player experience, and a lot of people who are fans of that game would be exposed to that for the first time. And a lot of it just really boils down to, what do I want to do? It's my YouTube channel, and I'll do whatever I want to do. So how I cover it or what I cover also becomes a factor. Let's do this. I'm just trying to play warrior weapons right now and get the daily quest done for gold. The next bit of news, Sword Art Online Hollow Realization comes on the Steam next week. This is going to kill both of these, by the way. Is it going to succeed? The thought here is that it's I think a single player game, but the storyline is that you're a character playing in an MMO, but there actually isn't an MMO element to it in the actual game. It's a single player story based thing, which is very confusing. And almost certainly there will be some Sword Art Online MMO RPG that comes out. Let's do this. Let's see. This will be funny if I actually win. A game that's already come out. Next bit of news. Is Little Witch Academia Chamber of Time. Well, maybe it hasn't come out. No, it's not out yet. It's coming out November 30th, so in a month. It's going to add, after it comes out, post-launch, to update online battles and co-op play and offline co-op. That is a ton of stuff to add. Let's keep this interesting and switch over to back to our druid deck. And in all seriousness, we need to speed this up, so we need to come over here, get rid of this custom paladin, come over here, pick a druid cards, and pick as many cheap druid cards I can play as fast as possible. So this is a typical build that just play druid cards and get as much done as possible in a single playthrough of the game. I still have my European and my Asian accounts to deal with. And you might as well play rank play. Like, I'm not even bothering to get above rank 20, so I'm more focused on getting 500 ranked wins, which 2.5 years in, still not that far. That seems really, really ridiculous. I don't feel like I've ever seen, or at least I can't remember a game that says after you buy it, we're going to add online battles, co-op, and offline co-op. So the entire multiplayer section, which clearly when they develop games, it's pretty typical to have different teams working on the single player and multiplayer. But in the West, I suppose, at least, you would make the argument that the single player would be held back for the multiplayer, or you would release the multiplayer at least in beta before along with the single player. I don't think you totally not summon 5 minions with one or more. Let's just start with this. Next bit of news, there's an Evil Within first person mode that you can activate with a console command. First person mode for Evil Within 2. And so, what's the simple console command that they're talking about? Let's see. Let's see. The command to activate first person mode is PL underscore capital FPS space 1. So you could type that in, and then you can play it in first person mode, which I mean, certainly that feels like that should be something in the options. That it seems kind of odd to not have that enabled. There must have been some reason for it. Now, I don't think it's really going to change the Evil Within too much. It might hurt your relationship with the main character a little. And as I understand, in Evil Within 2, you're playing as a character who's looking for his daughter. And if instead of remembering that fact, you decide you start thinking, oh, this is just a nameless character who doesn't really have any backstory, you're potentially going to experience the game not as well as the developers wanted it. And I have to really wonder if this first person mode wasn't a half attempt to go into VR. I recently just finished playing a game called Abduction, and that game came out kind of in the height of VR being a big deal, and I feel like it really, really suffers because of it. Well, this is, everybody's gonna die anyway, so we might as well do this. Yeah, I'm watching video of the first person mode, and at least for the hiding, running, stealthing, and shooting parts, it seems like it works. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's at some point a patch or something in the options. And whoever made this video and got and that they used on PC gamers probably would not. I don't even know if that was who somebody from PC Gamer that was playing on that video. I'm gonna go back and check that later. They have an end screen, which is always nice. The end screens on YouTube, in part, were my suggestion. I'm imagining that a lot of other people suggested it too, but I was certainly one of them that directly suggested end screens in a survey to YouTube from YouTube, and then they implemented it shortly after that. And they mostly implemented it the way I imagined it in my head. Like, I can't really complain about it. I've made other suggestions that they need to do, and they haven't done it, unfortunately. And they've done some things that I would like to do, but they've only done it as tests and allowed other people in the tests and not me. Which I wish they would have let me into those tests, or they would give me those new features, but they haven't yet. Moving on, as far as video game news, there's a game called Touhou Sky Arena, Touhou. Is that how you would pronounce that, Touhou? Let's see. I should play this right now, but whatever. I'm not gonna die. The release date has not been announced, but it's coming to Switch. What kind of game is this, though? The full name is Touhou Sky Arena Gensukyo Kusin Hime Matsuri Climax. Which, that's certainly a mouthful. A 3D high-tension spell battle action game. Spell battle action game. That's a new one. It's already been released in Japan on May 2016 for the PS4, so they're re-releasing it. And then it's already been on the PS Vita, too. Let's see. This is probably not coming to the West. A lot of these Japanese games aren't. Yeah, but Spell Battle, I don't know if that's kind of like a card battle type game. Except for you use spells or what. And it always sucks when I do this. I accidentally loaded an image instead of a link off Twitter, and so now I'm looking at this fighting game screenshot that looks good and interesting, certainly, but I cannot place for the life of me what game it goes to. Maybe it is the next Chaos Code Toshinsai, because that's the next thing that I have open here. It's the Chaos Code sequel. Did I play enough Druid cards? One more Druid card. Well, we don't need to play a whole game to do one more Druid card. Let's instead go do a warrior class set to speed this up. And then if I don't get that daily quest done today, that's fine. Well, I can do it later. Like, it is super easy to do it. In fact, I can do it right now just by playing a casual game, playing one card, and then conceding. And you don't even really need to play a casual game. You could play a ranked game if you want. Let's see. Like, you go over here, do this, play wild, play one card, and concede. Fighter games are particularly games I think I need help with more than anything else. Like, finding the right fighter game to play is going to be an interesting thing. And almost certainly, it's the big one to start off with. I need to play like Tekken or Marvel vs. Capcom or whatever it is, or Mortal Kombat 2 or Killer Instinct is one that I actually do want to play. Like, I need to get into the big ones and try to develop some skills playing some of the more accessible ones before I move over to the more Japanese-centric ones that are probably a lot more brutal to play and have a lot more competition, if I was to guess. Alright, so that's my one druid card. And then I'm going to end my turn. And then I'm going to concede and hope that works. There we go. And because of that, now I don't have to worry about that. Come over here to this custom warlock and play this. This fighting game, Chaos Code Toshinsai, seems like it is a 3-character team fighter game, so you pick 3 characters to fight. That's pretty common. What's this? I've got a video as my next tab open. I used to read all of the news, then concisely write it down on a whiteboard, and then read the whiteboard and talk about it on my channel. I've since given up on that because it's not very effective and it's a huge waste of time. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. I guess it just took me a while to realize. So I'm seeing a trailer for a game, but I don't know what it is. It's called Penny Pinching Princess for the Nintendo Switch and PS Vita. Ah, yes, I know what this is. Yeah, another indie game coming to the Switch, and it centers around using money as a fighting mechanic in some weird way. I'm not even sure exactly how. It's coming spring 2018, and I am pretty sure it will be coming around worldwide. So, probably not gonna be super fun. There's a free, what looks like a free visual novel game, Japanese visual novel game called Fatal Hearts that you can Google, that I think they're just giving it away as an advertisement for the next game in the series. It's not on Steam. Has something to do with fortune telling. The graphics don't look great, but in visual novels that's pretty common. Visual novels in particular are things I could never cover. I every now and then accidentally try to cover one on my channel, but it's just way too much reading. If anybody knows of a visual novel that is fully voice acted in English, I would play it, but anything short of that, it's like, no, that's too much. Too much talking, too much reading. I'm gonna go ahead and play these cards even though they won't help me any. We have a game called Black Future 88. It's some kind of synthcore rogue game. Let's see. Let's watch the trailer. That's like, first of all, I don't know what synthcore is. Second of all, how is it a rogue game? It looks like a 88 sci-fi movie, and you're platforming and running and gunning through a tower, and apparently the tower upgrades itself and makes the game more harder. It looks also very much like a bullet hell style of gameplay mechanic. A lot of lasers going around. And it has couch co-op. The graphics are kind of 8-bit pixely for the characters, but you're zoomed out very far in the gameplay mechanics, so that probably won't matter as much as it normally would. Seems like the couch co-op might just be a versus mode, not the actual game. Or maybe it is. Maybe the point of the game is to climb up consistently up on the platforms. It's promising excessive everything in the trailer. It says excessive death, excessive violence, excessive drugs, excessive eyeliner. So lots of other things. So that's coming out 2018, and it probably won't light the world on fire if I was to guess, but it might very well turn out to be an interesting indie game. It's got a long road to go, I would say. It's trying to be unique through the visual appearance, but the gameplay, if it's really, really tight, will work. But if it's loose, if you have a floaty jump, if the game is too difficult and it doesn't seem fair, it probably won't gain enough traction. Even Cuphead, which has, because of its visuals, has gotten a lot of extra sales and a lot of extra attention. Cuphead, its controls, I think, need to be tightened up, and I'm not sure you can really even do that in a game that's already out, because people will have already learned how the controls work now. I never really got to see anybody playing Cuphead all the way through in one run without taking any damage and being able to jump and do acrobatics that you would think were impossible. And I kind of expected to see some gameplay like that by now. Next bit of news, we have a game called Pawarumi. I don't know what this is or how you'd pronounce it. It's Pawrumi. It looks Japanese, but I don't think that's a Japanese word, if I was to guess. And it's a bullet hell shooter coming to Steam. And that is yet another game that I would have to really struggle to try to play any kind of bullet hell shooter game. They look really cool when people can actually play them, but if you're failing, if you're not doing good, it's not a great experience to show off. It's not a great experience to play. Like, if there was ever a style of games that needed an easy mode, bullet hell shooters are probably it. But this game is on early access October 23rd, so go check it out, I guess, if you want a bullet hell shooter. It looks good for what it's selling. In fact, it looks rather good. Pawa Rumi. That doesn't sound Japanese to me. And so I don't know, maybe it's a different language. Like, I have a tendency to just cycle through either it's English or it's Japanese when it comes to video games. But that is kind of the vast majority of the languages spoken. Well, stay tuned if you're watching live. Otherwise, if you're watching this recorded, as always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. We've done all of the daily quests, so next time we'll be on the European server. If you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.